morning, watchers. Scott and SE Landscaping. It is Monday the 7th of August. It is 6 a.m. and I am currently in Stockton, coming to service some of our sites, and I'm just visiting one of my previous sites, which I'll talk about now. Basically, one of my contracts with the students ran out about 4 weeks ago, and originally my plan was to lose some council and push the commercial more with a plan for next year. I altered that because the student thing ran out at a good time when I was chock-block with work and I could have done with losing some. So what I decided was to give up some of the students. So I told them the contract wouldn't be renewing, but as is the case as usual, I tried to put things in place for them. So spoke to one friend who was too busy, spoke to another friend, Tony Forbes, up at Peterlee, who's currently expanding, and he said he could do it. So passed all the details on, and I just thought I'd call in today. And you may think, well, why are you bothered? Why haven't you just walked away and forgot about it? But it does annoy me a bit when I've called in today and this is what we've got. And there we have it, grass that's a month long. Same again there, and the same down there. So that's 4 week long grass at the moment that hasn't been cut, and looking at it, it doesn't they've probably got nothing in place. They're probably going to wait till it's like winter height and then say, oh right, now we need to get someone in place. Oh, we'll ring Tony up. That'll be in 3 months time when it's a mess. Or like I say, they might have someone in place, but I don't think so, because she was keen when I mentioned about getting someone to sort it out. So that's where we are. It's a shame. It's been a lovely site and I've had it lovely for a couple of years now, and then this happens. It worked out for me, like I say, because it freed up, it was 2 sites, so it freed up quite a bit of time. And I didn't actually realise, I thought it was actually finishing in October, so it actually finished a bit earlier, which worked out for me. So that was that job. It was a nice job. I had it lovely. I think you've seen videos of the transformation. We took it from poor to when we were doing regular maintenance, and I've done videos of pruning and grass cutting there. It's a nice job to have. It's an easy in out, and you keep it tidy, spray the paths and everything. It's what I call easy work. But unfortunately I had to give it up, and that's where we are. So starting Monday morning with some commercials. Like I say, I'm in Stockton, but I'm heading to Middlesbrough, heading to the site where I do a bit of pruning and weed killing once a fortnight. So we're going there first, and then we've got another grass cutting job over here, and then the afternoon it's we've got 2 more grass cutting jobs over here. Then it's back to Darlington to do Village Hall, and then it'll be back to a local site which I never got managed to get done on Saturday, and then it's back to a local site to finish the day off near my unit, and that will finish the week off. Better weather forecast this week after last week's diabolical rainstorms, but we still managed to get what we wanted done. So we shall see how this week goes. So stay tuned. Another one done. Bit of pruning and shaping. Trim up this escallonia hedge, fastest growing thing on site. Seems to be needing every 6 weeks. Let's get started. The escallonia tidy for another 6 weeks. All trim and shaped up. Job number 3. Forgot to get a bit of footage from number 2, but we're in the back of the site at the moment, putting some grass. And there's our wildflower meadow. Not looking great this week. After all the rain, it's very damp over there. Hopefully it'll perk back up again for a final flourish. So this site makes little plastic polymers, them little small pieces of like salt you see, and what they get me to do is they overspill. They get me to blow the car parks. So they used to get a road sweeper in, but it didn't get it out, so they get me in with this blower. So that's the next plan. Monday is always a stop-start day with phone calls. Obviously a lot of councils and sites come back after the weekend, and there's usually issues to address. So for instance, I've just had a call where we have a funeral, not this week, but we have a funeral next week. So I have to book that in, go and look at the plot and everything. We've also had a break into the site, you could say. We've got a park that's locked. It has double sets of gates, and it has a single gate for pedestrian access, which is always open, unless the player is broken. But the double gates, the lock's been cut off, and we've got travellers on site. So I don't know what I can do with that, because it's more of a police issue, of the police coming and moving them on. I mean, really they should be charged with breaking and entering, because it's not as if they just parked on a bit of grass. They've actually smashed the lock off a site to get in. So, but whether they do it, I don't think they do. I think it's different rules for people like that. Unfortunately, they'll probably just be left there for a week and then get moved on. So it's I've had a couple of job calls this morning. One about a tree that's down, which I'm going to pass on to a friend of mine. I think with the wet weather, it sounds as if it's just toppled over, as they say. Toppled over is the posh word to say. So I'm going to ring my friend and probably pass that task on to him, if he can go and have a look at that. The other job is a pruning job. Someone wants some pruning done, but the good news is they don't want it done till November. So I'm going to go and look at that job on Thursday night, and we're possibly going to get that booked in for a bit of winter work. So although I'm saving our order book shut, if it's little jobs like this that come in, that's probably a couple £100 for a day's work, or £300 or £400 for a couple of days work, then we will oblige. We'll go and look at the job and we will tackle the job. So that's where we are. Coming back to that site, that job that you saw there with the blower and the power brush, that is what I call a really good paid job. Basically it took 2 hours to cut all the grass areas front and back of the site, and it's just took just short of 2 hours to power brush and clean all the little polymers, like I discussed in the video, little pieces of salt, a little bit bigger than salt anyway, a bit like the million sweets kids get. Basically the machines, them big white loaders are full of them, and what happens is they do piss out at times and then blow around the yard. They used to get a road sweeper in, and what the road sweeper used to do, it was too powerful. So it used to just fire them everywhere else and fire them on the grass, and then they'd come back onto the areas. So initially I tried my power brush, and my power brush had the same effect as a road sweeper, hence to say why we're using the less low impact still power brush there, because although it shoots it forward, it doesn't kick it out left, right and centre at a faster pace. Then we blow it into a pile, blow it into the corner, clean it up and put it in the skip. And what happened was, when I went to look at the job, obviously we already work on the site, and the man said to me, look, we're getting a road sweeper and it's not doing the job, we've already budgeted for it. I said, yes, but this is probably going to take me 2 hours, it's probably £100 job. He says, well, we've already got it in the budget. He says, so you budget for what we get for the job, which is £220. So it works out, that job there, you're getting £110 an hour for it. So from time to time you do get good jobs in this trade. And like I say, ordinarily I would have priced it at sort of £50 an hour, but they're quite happy to pay the extra money. The purchasing guys, basically the site managers, said, look, this is what we're getting paid, so we've already budgeted, so charge it. So if they're telling you that, that's fair enough. If it's a smaller site where the purse strings are a bit tighter, they're not going to say that to you. They're going to try and bid you down to £80. But that's where we are. So it's been a good morning. We're heading back to Darlington now. So we left Shildon this morning and travelled our longest trek, which was Middlesbrough, which is about 30 minutes because there was no traffic on the road at early doors. We're now going back to Darlington, and with it being lunchtime, there's no traffic on the road again, so I'll be in Darlington in 15 minutes. We shall be stopping for a sandwich because we've got a bit of time today. Things are going well at the moment. that could change. So the plan is get there, we've got a village hall to cook, which we've done videos before, and then it's on to a domestic after that, and then back on to commercial to finish the day off. So it should be it's supposed to be a dry afternoon till tea time, so hopefully if we can get all these sites done, go and look at the traveller situation, that will be our day. And 5 o'clock we should be heading into Auchan on the way home. So that's the plan. So stay tuned and we shall get a bit of footage. Onto the village hall, and the grass is well and truly growing now. So job number 4, that's the village hall done, and as everybody, I was a bit worried because as everybody knows, hater mowers don't bag well in long wet grass, but it's bagged well in long wet grass and it's done the job. And I'll tell you why it's done the job, because I keep it clean underneath. It gets blown each site, the bag gets blown out. Yes, from time to time I would agree they don't bag well when it's wet, but it's rained for 3 days, the ground is still wet, and it is delivered there. And you've watched me cut there, I haven't double cut it or anything, I've cut it at the normal level. So it's about maintenance basically, and keeping the machines clean, and I think that's the key. So on to the next one. A little front and back domestic just done there with the hater. So that job you can see to the left there is second off last job of the day. So just spin round here. It's just a fortnightly cut, as you can see, nothing flash, just with the Z1. So all that in front here, and then I also do the neighbouring block there, which is that blue building. So it's basically two together, all of that there down to the road. So it's a canny little job because you can do them both without packing your gear in the van. And that is Monday down. So like I say, I managed to have some lunch today, which was good. But it's been another heavy shift, another roughly 11 hours by the time we put this away and get loaded up for tomorrow. But we've done some decent work today, commercial, a little bit of domestic, and it's been dry. It's a better week this week. There's a little bit of showers, but the majority of it's dry, so it'll mean that we can have a good week of grass cutting and not have to worry about the weather and getting wet and running behind and having to put a couple of extra hours in here and there to catch up. It means that we can focus on just our normal cycle. The grass, as I've noticed on a few sites today, with all the rain and the wet and the warmth, sorry, it is growing fast, and it will shoot away even more now because we're going to get some decent temperatures this week. So that in one sense it's good that it's dry and hot, but in another sense it doesn't help because then the grass grows faster, and sometimes you've got a double cut, and other times it'll just mean that the sites won't look as tidy, unfortunately. But typical day there, just to give you an idea of, and it's the same again. I take into account logistics, so trying to work out the best route of getting somewhere. So I started off further afield, and I travelled further afield when I knew there was no traffic on the road. I used to work for a company where we used to start at 7:30 on a morning. We used to sit in traffic for sort of an hour, and I brought in some changes where I got the lads to start at 6 like I do, and we used to be on site earlier. We were more productive. So my boss liked that because it meant that, yes, the lads got up earlier, but if they didn't want overtime, it meant they were in the house earlier, so they had more of the day. But as well as that, we weren't sat in the van as much, so he was getting a lot more productivity. And I've sort of brought that into my business as well. Anywhere I travel, I'll put a few extra hours in. So, like I say, it's about analysing everything in your business down to the littlest thing. So, and that should bring you extra money, extra revenue, and it should bring you better productivity, better money, more money, because, like I say, you don't get paid for sitting in the van. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next one.